The onslaught between this moment and then obviously what happens later on, John, with the penalty. Neil Mellor had a great stat on Twitter, a former Liverpool player, of course, friend of the show as well, Neil. He's been in a few times. Southampton didn't touch the ball in Liverpool's half for 11 minutes and 45 seconds before Salah scores his penalty. So you're talking about turning the screw and not being able to get out. Like Southampton just were penned in. They went long, Liverpool won it. They tried to play through, Liverpool won it. It just felt like it comes in a very unconventional way with the fella playing basketball in his own box, but Liverpool really up the tempo, up the pressure, and like I say, for Southampton not to kick the ball for 11 minutes 45 in our half shows like Liverpool were turning the screw.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, from the moment Salah scored and then grabbed the ball out the net and raced back with it, you sensed everyone wanted to win that game, and they really thought, well, yeah, this is possible, and went for it.
I feel like the elements here is you could, in the 11 minutes that we're talking about, you can feel a goal brewing. Yeah. And that's sometimes that can be very rare with Liverpool when you're away from home, especially when you're in the ground, because it's usually a very, very nervy atmosphere. We know what it can be like. So, but I didn't even go yesterday, but I was sat there watching it at home, and I was sat there going, we're going to score here. I can just sense it coming. And Mo Salah, when he's picking up the ball at the moment, he's a different player at the minute. I think, it's looking back to like 18, 19. Every time he picked that ball up yesterday, he was just running at men, even if he running around the box.
He's playing with real arrogance.
He is, yeah.
And he loves that little ding to the back post. That's where the pen comes from. There's a couple of times it nearly works for us. It is right though, isn't it? You're like, I wonder if Southampton, again, the lad who comes on's a sub, so it can't really be like a fatigue thing for him, but it is pressure. Like, pressure just gets you, and when you can't get out, you haven't got your out ball, your big fella's gone off, and Liverpool are really, I actually thought, playing quite well. They're creating opportunities, they're shifting you about. You can just have a little bit of a brain fart, a little bit of a brain fade. Liverpool earn themselves the penalty, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's what pressure does, isn't it? That's why when you're playing, teams who've got everyone behind the ball, you say, get the ball in the box, let them defend and make mistakes. Pressure will tell eventually, and that's exactly what happens, isn't it?
I also thought, and I wonder again, it's almost a game plan thing, maybe I'm overthinking it, Luke. Liverpool maybe aren't that bothered about giving Southampton the ball in their own box, because most teams, if you're doing that against most teams and they're holding on to a draw, they'll just boot it. Yeah. Well, Southampton aren't going to boot it. They will continue to play. So actually, losing the ball in their box can work out for you a little bit as well. So why not try these little flicks and passes and crosses? Because worst case is you're probably going to get it back anyway.
Yeah, I thought they looked a little bit unorganised during that time. I know they had many men behind the ball. They had the 5-back that they played all game with, but I just thought he looked a bit clunky and unorganised, Southampton, and a bit panicky. You know what I mean? And that's something that you wouldn't see from, like, God, who comes to mind when you think about Premier League sides holding on? You know what I mean? So, Everton comes to mind, don't they? You know what I mean? They didn't look like that sort of organised unit. They sort of looked like they were panicking.
Arsenal.
Yeah. Arsenal, yeah, exactly. They looked like they were panicking. So it's one of them. They're probably not used to playing like that. That's why.
Yeah, and they probably find themselves in a strange position where they didn't get it. What do you think he is thinking? And it's Sugawara, isn't it? Is handball. It's one of those strange ones because it does hit his chest, John, but then, like, is it just panic because Andy Robo's behind him? Because it's a clear handball. Like, that isn't one where he's unlucky. He moves his arm towards it.
Clearest penalty I've seen in a long time. As soon as the ball went in, I could see it's a penalty.
Yeah,
it's so obvious.
What do you think he's thinking? Is it just another brain fart from a lad?
Probably just unlucky. He's going for the ball. He's desperate to clear it because they don't want to lose all the points. You go in, his body isn't in the right position. He's probably just jumping in there hoping for the best.
It's the movement towards the ball, like that smacks of, oh shit, like it's just a natural reaction of a little panic. Maybe Luke, he hasn't got the chest exactly how he wants it to go or something.
Do you think there's an element here of like being drilled into the game? I sort of thought when he's seen this change get made that it's sort of a change that doesn't need to be made. You know what I mean? They're sort of just making it because, like, let's get an extra body on, let's get fresh legs on.
Well, they're probably thinking Ryan Fraser at a fullback.
He's short lad, isn't he?
Yeah, maybe if Liverpool are going to cross it, maybe get a better defender on, but it's backfired on.
But it's, like I said, though, I think there's an element of like being dialed in and drilled into the game, and when you're coming in there, you're holding on, and you've got a massive job to do. There's just a bit of panic about you, and if I was going to be devastated, I'm pretty sure he was on the programme, wasn't he? So
yeah, it's not a great one for him. The pen's a great pen as well, John. It's worth mentioning. Like, the goalie's a big fella. That's the one thing Alex McCarthy's got. He's a big old guy, and he goes the right way. And actually, he's nowhere near it.
I mean, the worst thing Mo ever does in penalties is just hit them as hard as he can and hope for the best. This one hit as hard as he could, but he knew exactly where he was putting it, didn't he?
Yeah. And it's a worldie, and gets his top off. He likes getting his top off. I always think sometimes, like,
I expected to have written on his shirt, "I want this much money."
Yeah, just after his comments after the game yesterday as well, the tattoo of a contract that someone can come and sign. The celebration, actually, it's mad because, again, it's Southampton away. Like, you should win, but it almost feels like I have a bit of that Premier League. Like, I'm the man, and he is the man at the moment. Luke, like, there's no doubt about it. And, you know, not to be cynical, it isn't the worst time to speak to the media after you never speak to the media and talk about your contract. And Paul and the guys will do a bit more on that, of course, on the podcast a bit later. But, like, it's a reminder to everybody. There's a massive argument to be made at the moment in time that he's currently the best player in the world.
Yeah,
he's impacting games all the time, even if he's not scoring. He nearly gets a hat-trick, he hits the post, he has chances. He's on the Mo Salah level that it's as good as he's ever looked, really, especially in terms of the numbers. And it was a nice little reminder, like, yeah, I'm the man here. And by the way, have a little look at my body as well, because it isn't half bad.
Well, I think it's one of them. And this man is criminally underrated by every other fan base in the Premier League. He is, and it sort of is the
whole world.
The whole world, yeah.
He wasn't in the Ballon d'Or top 30.
I know. Well, he's criminally underrated, and it was after that. And like we spoke about before, the absolute arrogance he was playing with the whole game. He looked levels above everyone else in that field, and he showed that, you know, you've just scored 2 points, you've won back 3-2 win away from home. You know what I mean? On the telly. It's great, and he runs over top off, and he's just stood
very
stood
reminiscent
there, like,
to that, you know, the Man United game when we won the league. You know, this is Mo Salah making a statement, isn't it? You know,
yeah. It's also he's done it. It's sort of like this is my moment here now, and you know what I mean. You sent Liverpool 8 points clear, miles top of the league, and he's sort of saying, literally, have that Premier League. You know what I mean? Doubt me more.
I also think, John, like, he does love playing for Liverpool, and he loves the supporters, because every time he scores a goal, it's almost like a trance he's in sometimes, when he does that thing when he stares at the ground, at the fans, and was like, I've caused this to happen, you know what I mean? And his eyes are massive. Like, he does still buzz off it. You know, anyone who doubts Mo Salah, anything about Mo Salah, and he hasn't got a contract, and he admitted afterwards, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, he's
not playing like a man who's disappointed. He's playing like one of the best players in the world.
So he's saying to the whole world, look how good I am. You know,
if these won't pay me, someone will.
Would you be daft enough to let me go?
Yeah.
And if you are, then there must be people out there who want this.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said it before. I never thought he would leave and go to Saudi Arabia for the simple reason the guy's too driven. He still thinks he'll win the Ballon d'Or. He still thinks he'll win the Champions League and the Premier League. He'll still think he'll have the Golden Boot, even though Haaland's in the way. That's the way he is. He just thinks he'll win, and that's why he loves being at Liverpool.
And that
it gives him that place to do it.
That interview, he says afterwards, he goes, "Yeah, I want to win the Premier League and Champions League. That's the aim."
Yeah.
The rest will box itself off. And again, the contract stuff is going to be a bigger conversation when Paul and Chris do that later. But it is worth saying,
it doesn't get recognised much now. Sorry, Stu, to interrupt, but you know, it wouldn't surprise me if in his head he wants to finish his career and have people look back and say, bloody hell, he was absolutely brilliant, wasn't he? Look at all these records, you know, and get recognition sometime, somewhere, you know, for how good he is.
I said on Twitter yesterday, and I got a bit of, I don't know, maybe it's hyperbole, maybe I'm just rocked up in the moment and mesmerised by him with his top off, but I said, like, I never thought anyone in the Premier League era would come close to Steven Gerrard. Like, in terms of just, they're not, again, different players, and I understand it, but like, their importance to the team, and like dragging Liverpool in big moments, and how they perform in big games, like, I didn't think it was possible. And I'm not saying Salah's better than Gerrard or impact, and it's different teams, and I understand it, but like, the fact that we can put him in the same conversation, Luke, it just shows how good he has been and how good he is, because I think Steven Gerrard's the best midfielder in the Premier League ever, and I know people would disagree with that, fair enough. Like, Salah he's up there, like, you know, Mount Rushmore, whatever you want to call it. Like, Salah's in that conversation now. He's like an all-time Liverpool great, never mind Premier League great.
He's going to go down as the best player from this sort of decade we had, you know what I mean? He's going to be right up there when people talk about when he's retired and he's 50 odd. He's going to be up there with people like, you know, Dalglish and Gerrard, you know what I mean? Because the numbers, is. Yeah, well, he already is, yeah, but the numbers don't lie. You know, how consistent he is.
He's also probably consistently played with better players than Gerrard did.
Yeah.
and he still stands out.
I think another thing just to touch on is, like you said before, is it's his love for the club. You know what I mean? And that's what makes you respect him even more. It would have been so easy for him to have his head turned and sort of be like...
When he took his shirt off yesterday and ran to the crowd, what went through my mind was, we tried to buy him and we ended up going to Chelsea. What would have happened if we'd actually managed to get him in that a bit earlier than we did?
I think maybe we benefited from the lapse there, but like just for context, by the way, 367 games, 223 goals, 97 assists for Liverpool. Like it's just breathtaking, John. We say we've sat here on this couch after every game pretty much and lauded Mo Salah for his involvement. Interestingly, it's the first time he scored 2 in the same Premier League game for a while. I think it was Newcastle, which was like, was it Boxing Day or Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve or something? It was December last year.
Yeah,
his goals have been coming in ones in the league, which is fantastic.
Scores every game.
He's just scored, I was going to say 5 in a row in the league. Like, he is just on another level at the moment. He's
I mean, there were conversations amongst fans. I've certainly had conversations in this room before the season started about whether Mo Salah should be sold or not, and get some money while you can, on the basis that he clearly was going to start fading. But you look at his numbers this season. I mean, the number of goals and assists already is just phenomenal.
Yeah, he's got a never say die attitude, hasn't he? And I was just going to touch on it before. It would have been so easy for him to have his head turned, especially with the media narrative of getting spun against Liverpool, saying, "Oh well, let's just get in the Champions League. Liverpool don't look the same team." It would have been so easy for him to think, yeah, I'm gonna drop off this year. I could go this summer and go somewhere else massive, and then go off to Saudi and retire. And he hasn't, because he loves the club and he believes that he is the best player and he can drag us to these sort of Champions League finals, Premier League titles, and it's just never say die.
I think I saw the stat, John. 67% of Liverpool's goals he's involved in this season, which again I've seen some people going, well, you're relying on Salah too much. I was like, yeah, but you can rely. That's the point. That's the point. You can rely on Mo Salah. He is that consistent. That's fine. Like, he can do this all season.
That's what he's paid for. It's just like Keller has made so many saying, well, yeah, of course. That's what we paid for.
Do your job. It's your job. Yeah, I thought, again, fantastic.